picture on Instagram that was like a wrapped up just like this one. It was yellow. I will put the picture here. But I saw it and I thought that it could be really easy to recreate and also really easy to make. It's really fresh for the summer. It's really like on trend, I guess. And it's just too easy that I wanted to share it with you. I really like the way it turned out. The only thing you're going to need is about 1 yard and a half of fabric. You're going to need scissors. You don't need a sewing machine to make this. You can sew it by hand, so a needle, thread, and just make sure that you take your measurements well. The fabric that I used for this said that it was linen, but I'm not sure. I think it's like a blend of linen and some other cotton. It doesn't get wrinkled so much like linen, so I like that. But try to find something like that, something that's a little thicker, preferably something cotton or linen because it's more fresh. But of course you can actually do this with a thick satin or something shiny, like if you want to wear it at night or when you go out. So if you're interested in learning how to make this, it will only take you a few hours and you'll have your beautiful top. So stay tuned and don't forget to like this video if you enjoy it, and please subscribe to my channel so that you can continue watching videos like this one every week. The first step is that you need to take your measurement for your bust circumference. So use your measuring tape for this. Remember to measure on the highest part of your bust and keep your measurement tape as straight as possible. To this measurement, you need to add 24.75 inches or 63 centimeters so that you can tie your top with a double knot. Then measure how long you want your top to be. And to this measurement, add 1.25 inches or 3 centimeters for seam allowance. Make sure it will be wide enough to cover everything that you want to cover. Now lay your fabric folded on a table or something where you can mark it, and mark the last measurement you took, which is the wide of your top, in one of the edges, in the folded edge. Then the measurement that you took for how long it needs to be with the knot section and everything, you need to divide that in half and check it in your fabric to see if it fits. And this was exactly the amount that I needed, so I didn't mark anything there, and I continue marking the wide of the top and created this rectangle. So I actually was really lucky that my fabric was just enough for the length that I needed when I took my measurement. But if this doesn't happen to you, don't worry. You are going to need a little bit more fabric, but you are going to need to cut 3 pieces total for like the top, the part that you are going to see, and for the lining as well. So for example, the length is not enough for you. The only thing you need to do is measure with your measuring tape on your back to, like, from here on the back to here, like where you would want to add a seam. So you measure that, and then you cut a piece that is that size plus about 2 centimeters or 3/6, that would be like 3/4 of an inch. You can add that, so it's like the seam allowance, and then you subtract this measurement you just got from your total, and what you have, the remaining that you have, like divide that in two and cut 2 pieces of that, so that you can attach one here and one here, and add seam allowances for that as well. And that's all you need to do, and repeat so that you can have your second long piece. Repeat those steps by cutting those 3 new pieces. On the opposite edge from the fold, you're going to measure in your bottom line 5 inches, and in the top line 5 inches as well, because we're going to create a point and an angle for the ending of your top. Also mark the half of your rectangle on that end as well, so that you can join those lines. Now take a French curve ruler, or it can be like the normal curve ruler or something that is curvy, so that you can create from those 3 lines that you marked this pointy edge. And now start cutting your first piece. You will use this piece as your pattern for the lining that you will attach to your whole top. So pin it up to the remaining fabric and cut a second piece just like the first one. Extend your 2 pieces and lay one on top of the other one, right sides facing each other, and start pinning it so that you can start stitching around your pieces. If you're planning to sew this by hand, mark your seam allowance line or your sewing line. I used 3/8 of an inch all around so that I could stitch on the line and everything will be straight and beautiful. And just make sure that at the very tip of your point, you create an angle. So you can create a clean pointy edge that will look really beautiful on the top. And you can do this if you're going to stitch on the machine as well. Now we need to mark the opening that we're going to leave so that we can flip everything inside out. So make sure it's about the width of your hand. And I did this in the back center part of my top. You can do it closer to the edge or wherever you prefer, but I thought it was less visible like this. And you're going to sew all around, like from one line that you made around until you reach the other one. Now get your glasses on because we're going to start sewing very tiny stitches. I'm using a colored thread so that you can see my stitches, but it's better if you use a thread that is the same color of your fabric so that you don't see it on the outside. make a knot on one end of your thread and thread the needle. I will use a running back stitch for this. This means that you're going to make like 2 or 3 small stitches, like normal stitches, and then a back stitch. This is so that your work is more sturdy and stronger. And of course, if you have a sewing machine, just sew around your piece with your machine and you will be done in literally 1 minute. But if you don't, you're going to get a really relaxing sewing therapy and a really beautiful top at the end, so it's worth it. After a while, we're almost done. We're reaching the other end or the other line for the opening that we left, and we're just about to make a knot and fasten off our thread so it doesn't open. After sewing, I took a little break for Wish's daily walk on the park because it's really important that she gets exercise every single day so that she can have a better life. Back to the sewing. We're going to trim the points edges or seams so that they're about 1/8 of an inch, just really close to the edge, so that when we flip it over and turn it, it's flat and it's beautiful and the point looks great. After your piece is inside out, just flat iron it, beautiful and straight. This is the opening that we left, and we're going to close this with a felling stitch, and this time I used a thread that is black, the same color as my fabric, so that it's not visible, and we're going to be done with this in about 2 minutes. After this, you just need to wrap the top around you and tie it with 2 knots, and you're done.